And the minority, in solidarity, boycotted Parliament and went to the courts. We've been having this conversation, which we had talked about the last time. We had indicated that how about, doing other things? How about, for instance, just indicating, for instance, that you're not going to be part of, media budget review readings as a show of protest, but leaving your parliamentary responsibility and going to court. But they've been explaining that, look, as a way of showing that they're unhappy with what is happening in the country. They see it as persecution. But yesterday, Dr. Rashid Draman made a point, which I think the NDC should actually take seriously. He said, if you are a responsible opposition, and here let me explain what a responsible opposition is. He says, an irresponsible opposition is one that knows they will never come to government. So everything they do is to frustrate governments. A responsible opposition is one that knows there's a possibility of coming into government. And that's the NDC's position now, because they have a chance of being in government. Okay? So if you are a responsible opposition, you must be mindful of the neutrals watching. How long can you continue boycotting parliamentary duties? Today, if the government wants to pass any law which they believe is good for the country, which they believe, they could just wait, and the day that Gyakye Quayson is going to court, they take it to Parliament. Right. They will marshal order 138, will show up in Parliament, vote, and that's the end of it. There will be nobody to protest. Yeah. There will be nobody to raise doubts. And I pointed out yesterday to Roxanne that, look, e-levy, on the day the minority insisted that the 100 cities which attracts no, e-levy should be maintained when the minister reduced it to 1%. And the minister accepted it. If they were not there, we would have had a situation whereby we no longer, enjoy that. So they are playing a major role in our democracy. And yes, they boycotted Parliament yesterday. But I think it's about time they reconsidered that view. Otherwise, government will pass certain, bills and agreements which may not inure to our benefit as a country, and will blame the minority and say, if you had been there, you probably could have articulated our views for us. So I think that, look, yes, you've made the point. You can actually boycott other sittings, for instance, the budget reading, and you can say, for instance, that yes, but he will come and take part in the budget, because the budget post the courts affect all of us.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that for Parliament or members of Parliament, boycott is one of the tools that they use. Walkout is one of the tools that they use. In this circumstances, I made a point the last time that the matter is before a court of competent jurisdiction. Now, the judiciary is an independent arm of government. The judge sitting on the case does not wear political colors. The persons who are before court are being taken to the normal and the established due process. Dr. Atuforsen, Gyakye Quayson. In fact, in the case of Dr. Atuforsen and of course Alhaji Collins Dauda, the speaker gave permission, because that is the practice, that the court will write to the speaker that these people are involved in this case or the other, and for that reason they will be required to be in court whenever the case is called. So that that permission was granted, and that's the reason why they are able to go to court to assess in this case, whether it involves them, their witnesses, or whatever it is. So that is ongoing. So to say that you are boycotting it entirely because some of your members are in court and you want to describe it as persecution, even though they have been taken through the normal due process, I have difficulty accepting this position. Are you telling us that because they are MPs and they have a case to answer, they shouldn't be called to answer because they are politicians? Then what message are you sending to the people who don't have titles to their names? That, to me, establishes the point that there is a law that exists for a certain class of people, and then the generality of the people we should fight for ourselves. Like I made a point the last time. If I should be arrested this morning that I jumped a red light, So I should expect that the entire media fraternity will say that we are not working today. We are closing down our radio or our media houses in solidarity with me because I'm being taken to court. What kind of society are we building? Do you have trust in the court or not? The court is dealing with the matter. Allow the court to come to a conclusion on it. But to take this position, to neglect your responsibility as an MP, because the claim is that you are being persecuted, when a court is dealing with this matter, if your innocence is established, you'll be allowed to go scot-free. If you are guilty, you go inside. I don't see how this boycott is of any importance, especially in these circumstances where your attention, your attendance is much needed at this crucial time in a society where our economy is virtually on the free fall. We need them, and so they should rethink this position they have taken. We are paying them to represent us in parliament. We are not paying them for them to sit home and go and follow some people who have been taken to court, been taken through due process.